What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? So we had a very, very, very interesting day in regards to Major League Baseball. I'm sure, as most of you know, what happened. But before we dive into all of that, please, everyone, give this stream a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and of course, it's still going to be a Q&A style type of stream. If you guys do have any comments, questions, or concerns relating to anything Major League Baseball already, please feel free and drop it in the comment section below. And yeah, and I guess let's stop wasting any time. I do kind of want to briefly talk about what went down, obviously, with today in regards to MLB. I'm not going to be on here too long because I do have some other stuff to do. Usually, I know it's 8 o'clock. I'm usually not on this. Usually, I'm not on live streaming this late, but with just all the stuff going on in Major League Baseball, I kind of just wanted to, I guess, just come on here and rant a little bit. So. I'm guessing, as most of you guys know, unless you're living under a rock, today was the MLB deadline for the Players Association and the owners to have an agreement to form a new CBA, or else games will be postponed. It was actually yesterday, but meetings went pretty well yesterday. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I was kind of commenting throughout really how all that went down, and everything went pretty good for the most part yesterday. It seemed like a deal was implemented. And yeah, obviously, I'm not going to go through the whole timeline because I think it's safe to say we all know what happened. So yeah, obviously today there was not a deal formed, and I guess we all know there wasn't a deal formed. I'm going to stop ranting off about that, and what I am going to start talking about is what went wrong, in my opinion, for both of these sides. Because let's be real, tensions looked really good last night. So diving into what went down, let's pull up my Twitter. Pulling up my Twitter. So obviously there was a lot of stuff that went wrong today. So I guess I'm going to give off my opinions. So I'm not really going to say what happened, what went wrong. I'm just going to give my opinions and what I think really went down. So, everyone is, I guess you could say, arguing with the commissioner. Fans right now are 50-50 and 50. You have half the people who blame the owners, half of the people that blame the players, and half that blame both and both. Honestly, I think it's more just both and the owners. I don't really think anyone solely just blames the players. So that's that case. In my opinion, I honestly blame a little bit of everyone. Obviously, let's dive into it. Obviously, hearing the blowback from agents, this is according to Twitter, there was a lot of things that the owners gave the union. Whether that consists of 2+ players remaining stay at 22% after the union asked for 100%. That was the big question. But the union did raise the minimum pay wage. They had the National League DH. They left the CBT penalties, and they left the penalties the same. They added the draft lottery, and to an extent, a little more. In my opinion, I realistically think that the players could have maybe urged a little bit. Obviously, taking a look at some of the numbers that I guess was being spoken about, I think the CBT was really the number one thing that really destroyed things. The number one concern, I think, was the CBT, and that was from small market teams. Well, what are these small market teams like? The A's, the Guardians, the Tigers, whatever. Well, no, not the Tigers. The A's, the Guardians, whatever. So there was concerns from these small market teams about the luxury tax thresholds, and obviously, Arise, like they said, one side was on 220, one side was on 230. And what I guess really killed the players' union was having the 220 3 years straight in a row, pretty much. They were not fond of that. They wanted it to increase, 220, 236, go up year by year. And I'm guessing that did not sit well with both parties. Yeah, obviously, Rob Manfred did state in his little press conference today, if you want to call it, the MLB proposal did give 33% of a raise to 2/3 of the players by increasing salaries for young players. So there was obviously a lot of stuff that went down, but it was the luxury tax threshold, the luxury tax figures that really kind of took away this whole meeting. They started off at 239 with the union, but then the players union started at 220. and had 220, 220, 220 for, I think, 3 years. And I don't remember what it was after that. So, yeah, obviously, tensions were not the same today. They looked a lot different. And I guess comes to the question is what went wrong? Because last night, like I said, I don't want to go into this too much because I'm probably going to wind up making a video on it. I just wanted to go live just to kind of talk because I was going to lose my mind. But realistically, they met last night. I figured, why would these guys be meeting? I mean, they had 18 different meetings yesterday. These guys met 18 different times. They went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, there really must be a close deal or they want to make a deal. And it's established both of these guys want to make a deal. Why were they constantly going back and forth yesterday? Why would they go back and forth yesterday? The meeting started yesterday at 10 a.m. Didn't get out till 3 a.m. the next day. They were there for 16, 17 hours. That's a long time. So these guys were obviously committed. So I just don't know what happened yesterday. And, when they left yesterday, both parties left at 3 a.m. As soon as they left, I said, don't leave. Keep the momentum going because that's what happened. Yesterday, everyone was saying everything was good. The CBA talks were going in agreement. They were making progress. There was optimism on both sides. Both sides' tones were respected, and everyone liked what they were hearing. And then as soon as both of them left, both parties left at 3 a.m., I guarantee you they probably all went home, all went back to wherever they needed to be. And what happened? Everything just went to Kaputskis for the most part. And that is why I wanted these guys to stay. I wanted these guys to stay at Roger Dean Stadium until 5:45 a.m. if that really needed to be the case. Because, being realistic, the 1994 and 1995 lockout, that didn't end until 5:45. So I don't know. That's why I said that time specifically. But that's why I was, as soon as both of them left at 3 a.m., obviously I didn't stay up till 3 a.m., I went to bed, and as soon as I woke up at like 6 a.m., I saw it and said they left at 3 a.m. And I said, you know what? That's going to cause issues there because you lost the momentum. They should have kept riding the momentum and, kept something going. So, I mean, it really sucked. It was unfortunate that this is the case for Major League Baseball. I don't really know what's going to go on ahead. Obviously, the first two seasons for each team will be canceled. And right now, the casual fan is not looking good to baseball. Listen, there's not so many diehard fans out there. There are only so many diehard fans out there like myself or like all the other great YouTubers on here that provide Mets or baseball content in general. And, like I said, this will destroy baseball if it goes on and continues. I mean, I could go in a million directions from here, so I'm going to start off with where I'm going to want to start off, and my apologies if this sounds beyond confusing. 1994 and 1995 was the biggest lockout. Obviously, they missed over thousands and thousands of games for teams. And right now, this is the first time since that games will be missed because of a lockout. That's been established. In 1994 and 1995, it destroyed baseball popularity. The casual fan was not interested in baseball. It took a home run race and players taking steroids to bring back the popularity of baseball. I mean, hey, listen, I think they got rid of steroids now, so hey, go for it. Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, that is really what it took to bring back baseball back then. And I really question now, baseball popularity is really going down. That's been established. Baseball popularity, it's not there. You look at so many other sports, football, soccer, basketball, hockey, whatever. The viewership is going up like crazy. And for baseball, it's just not really fluctuating much. It's kind of just staying at the same spot. And yeah, I mean, that's just really what I worry is the future for Major League Baseball. You had the 2020 year, which really destroyed a lot of baseball. I mean, 2020, I say, was supposed to be one of the best years for Major League Baseball. 2019, with so many teams like the New York Mets, the Yankees, it was an awesome year for baseball itself. And then 2020 came along, and it was supposed to be a great year. And then, hey, look what happened. COVID. You can't control that. And, I give Rob Manfred, I give the owners, to an extent, some sympathy when it comes to 2020 because that was state and federal guidelines. They they could have tried and peeled that, but that would have been much more worse in their case. And yeah, you were hoping that you would never have to have something like that again. And unfortunately, I said 162 games, or else it's going to feel like 2020, and MLB cannot afford another 2020 season. Baseball is unfortunately a dying sport. It's not what it used to be. Listen, I don't want to say it's a dying sport. I definitely think that there is some popularity in it. But I just think nowadays it's other sports that people grasp attention to, and I don't see any other sports having, these collective bargaining issues. This is going to kill interest for the casual fan. Majority of teams make revenue from attendance. That's been established. I know after 2020, when there were no fans in the stands for the 60-game season, and even starting off 2021, when MLB teams started off at half capacity or 2% capacity, pretty much, a lot of teams said they struggled financially. Maybe not so much the Mets, but a lot of small market teams really struggled from that, and they said, how much longer can they have, the 10% capacity, because they're not sure if they would be able to keep up with that. And that is pretty much what happened. And now I guess we'll see if that happens in the future. But I kind of just wanted to rant off, so I will get into your guys' comments, questions, and all of that great stuff. Just kind of wanted to rant some thoughts on that. What's going on, everyone? I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know I sound a little dull, a little sad, like I just witnessed something horrible, but it's just really unfortunate that it's come down to this for Major League Baseball. I was really optimistic last night that things would pan out different. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So as of right now, we'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed. Are we going to see a famous hate and rage to Santiago? Well, I'll tell you, if it's a month from now and we're in the same boot and I am beyond upset, I probably will be throwing a very famous hate and rage. What's going on, everyone? Mr. Cool, what's going on? Jack in the Box, what's going on? Mark says, end the lockout. I could not disagree with you. Colby, what's going on? Trey, what's going on? Hopefully you did hear my little thoughts on that. Thomas, what's going on? Thomas says, actions speak louder than words. I am not a baseball historian, but Manfred seems like the worst commissioner we've ever had. Yeah, listen, Thomas, I get what you're saying. A lot of people don't like Robert Manfred, and I understand that. I think regardless of whoever the commissioner was, I could be the commissioner, for goodness sake, and I don't think people would probably like me. The commissioner is just a spot that I guess a lot of people just seem to bash on. I don't want to say it's a figurehead, but the owners in this case had much more power of the lockout than Rob Manfred to some extent. Obviously, Rob Manfred did handle it a bit foolish. Obviously, it is a disaster if we lose games, which he did state, and he's not wrong. It is a disaster. But even people hated Bud Selig. Regardless of who the commissioner is, he always gets bashed on. Alex, what's going on? I'm doing all right. Obviously, with the exclusion of this whole lockout shenanigans, I guess you could say I am doing okay. Obviously, it's very unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Trey, what's going on? Trey says, baseball has needed a culture and management change from top to bottom for several years now. Other sports, NFL, NBA, NHL has done a far better job with connecting to communities and fans. I agree. The MLB has one of the most passionate fan bases. Yes, they may not be one of the largest compared to other sports, but they have one of the biggest fan bases. And, listen, baseball fans, we're very passionate fans. And MLB has came out in the past couple months and years saying, oh, we want to try and, widen out the range of baseball interest and, try to expand the game to all types of viewers, regardless, try and get out to more viewers, regardless of someone's age or, I don't know, try to reach out to all generations. And by having this, that does not help. Obviously, things are not looking good for Major League Baseball with the fan base. Ballcap Sports, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. Awesome stream last night. You definitely did rock it. I do appreciate you tuning in, brother, as always. Marco says, do you follow any minor league baseball? Not really. I mean, I've never, I've followed a lot of, farm, prospects. I've started to get into that a bit recently. But as of right now, I really don't follow any minor league teams specifically. Yeah, as of right now, I don't really follow much minor league ball. The Port St. Lucie Mets, the Syracuse Mets. I follow some of the Mets minor league affiliates because of the farm and the prospects. But yeah, never really been on minor league baseball. But who knows? Maybe if it gets delayed, I will be. Cal, what's going on? Cal says, think the Mets will sign Kikuchi. It's a possibility. One thing that I think is interesting is that a lot of these news and just comes out right now. It's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, Kikuchi is a fair option. Listen, I understand he's a left-handed pitcher, and that's something that I've expressed a lot of passion on. A lot of interest in. I really do value a rotation having a lefty. I know in the past a lot of people would say, oh, I don't care so much for a lefty in the rotation as long as it's the bullpen. And I kind of disagree with that to an extent because like I've said in the past, there's always lineups out there that really, really, really struggle against left-handed pitching. And, why not take advantage of that? I mean, the New York Mets were a team that played horrible against left-handed pitching. I mean, during the season, I had my 3 rules on the live streams. The Mets, if they were facing a lefty, a pitcher with low velocity, or a lefty that has a fastball for his main pitch, the Mets were screwed. And hey, what happened? They lost a lot of games because of that. But regardless of that, Kikuchi, he's not my top choice. If the Mets were to sign him, it'd be to a small cheap deal to an extent. I definitely think he was to an extent, a spider tack merchant. I mean, he really struggled in the second half. The barrel was one thing. Yeah, he does play a lot of games in the West Coast, so definitely take that with a grain of salt, but never really had much with Kikuchi. I mean, he's a lefty. Otherwise, that's really it. I've never really been fascinated with his arsenal, with his mechanics. Nothing really stands out. Yeah. Timothy, what's going on? Timothy says, when the owners and players union head to New York City, will both sides finally get a deal done and begin the 156-game season starting on April 7th? Yeah, Timothy. I mean, right now, things are really not looking good. For that, obviously, Rob Manfred and the MLB pretty much came out today and said that MLB will not be playing the first 2 series of baseball. So that means the Mets and Nationals, and the Mets and I believe it's Phillies. The Mets and Nationals, because opening day is March 31st. So the Mets and Nationals and Mets and Braves series will be getting canceled. MLB does not want to make these up, which is a little surprising. You thought they would make it up. Maybe if they only missed a week or 2, maybe they could extend it in October, have some double headers thrown in between. I thought maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But as of right now, it seems they're not going for that. I don't know if that's just BS talk because they want to try and they wanted to get a deal done and they still do. So they're kind of just saying that to put, I guess, fear on the players' side. So, yeah, we'll see. As of right now, I'm hoping April 7th is really what we could see. Christopher, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Yes, I am finally wearing a Mets hat. I know in all of these streams, I constantly would always wear like a Phillies hat or a Brewers hat or whatever. So you finally get to see me wearing a Mets hat. Alex, what's going on? Alex says, nothing was learned from 1994. Fans are not as diehard as they were back then. Any delay to the start of the season, it will be a fight to keep the fans. Exactly, man. And like I said, the casuals outnumber the diehards. And, baseball, like I said, the interest and the viewership is going downhill. So it's unfortunate. Cast Talk Show, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Says, we'll be okay, buddy. Yeah, I mean, I really hope so. All you could do is wait. And, yeah, that's really all I could say. Santiago says, I really want to see Jacob deGrom and Mad Max pitch. Yeah, man, I feel you. Figures, 2 years into Steve Cohen's so far ownership, and the thing about this with the Mets is, I mean, I guess it has some pros, but more cons. I mean, one pro with Jacob deGrom is we know we had that partial torn UCL. We don't know if that was 100% true or not. So that's always a benefit, able to amp him up a little bit more, as well as Carlos Carrasco to recover a little bit, and Tywin Walker also. But, these guys only have so many years in them. I mean, Max Scherzer, age 37, 3 years. He only has so many, games to play. And it'd be really unfortunate to, waste a half a season or whatever because of this on Max Scherzer with the Mets, or even Jacob deGrom, but he has plenty of time left. So it's unfortunate. Cast Talk shows his baseball season starts in May. Yeah, I mean, it seems like May 1st would be fair. I'm hoping that it could start much earlier. I'm hoping that now that, in the past couple, CBA meetings, they were losing spring training games. The players don't get paid for spring training. Yes, I guess it does benefit them because, it gets them into the best physical ability for the regular season so they can make, money down the line during the regular season. Now you are losing money. The owners will be losing quadruple amounts, and the owners will be losing double amounts. I mean, other way around, my bad. The players will be losing double amounts. And now, you're losing games, and I don't think the players want that. Listen, it's one thing if you're losing spring training games, but now you're losing regular games. So I question, hopefully you could try and get a deal by, I'm hoping at least by April 15th, they could have something done. Thank you, Paul. Kobe says, I blame both players union and owners. Just bring back baseball, please. It's in everyone's interest. 100%. It is in everyone's interest. Marcos says, thoughts on the 12-team postseason? Yeah, that's actually a good question. So, I'm not thrilled about it, but being honest, it's not like the end of the world with me. There are worse things. I mean, it could have been 14, which really would have sucked. As of right now, I'll suck it up. Obviously, a lot of people say, oh, but this will benefit a lot of teams, and it definitely will. But I've just never been crazy on expanding it. This does create some possibilities, though. MLB wants to expand the postseason. It's probably because they can make more money and more revenue because more teams and games are being played. But could also mean MLB expansion. I mean, I know that's always been something that's been talked lightly the last couple years, MLB expansion. So who knows? That could be a possibility. There's obviously a lot of things that can come from this. But 14, like we saw, half of MLB should not be making the playoffs. I like it at 10. I like 5-5. Now it'll be 6-6. So I'll take it. I guess it's one extra team per league. Not bad. It's better than 14. I guess pretty much like we would have had like the Phillies who were 82 and 80 made it. I'm not crazy about like 500 teams making the World Series. I know in 2020 the Brewers, who were way below 500, made it. That shouldn't be a thing. AB, what's going on? Gallopost, what's going on? Gallopost says, hey, Hayden, besides the news with the lockout. How you doing? Yeah, I'm doing all right. Not bad. Definitely enjoying my evening to an extent, besides the lockout, obviously. Trey, what's going on? Trey says, oh, thank you. Mets related. No more lockout. Good. Trey says, expectations for Tyler McGill and David Peterson in 2022. Yeah, so, I mean, absolutely awesome question there. So I guess let's get it started. I mean, for Tyler McGill came up with the Mets this past season at an unprecedented time where pitching was needed, and he dominated. He carried on the slack when Jacob deGrom was out, and when it was him and deGrom kind of carrying that rotation. During that whole injury stunt, the Mets had 6, 7, and 8 starters that got hurt. So, one thing I've noticed is the last couple of years, the Mets pitching staff and the farm that gets called up is able to manage because both of these guys really carried the team. 2020 will start off. 2020, David Peterson carried that rotation. He was the only guy not named Jacob deGrom in 2020 that carried the rotation and had his stuff. Both of these guys are very mature, I've noticed. If they're going to give up, a long ball or if they have a rough first outing, you don't see them like throwing their glove or cussing or, getting it to themselves. They're very calm. They're very mature. In terms of Mcgill, I think is a phenomenal pitcher. I mean, he really had a good rookie season. Fingers crossed he doesn't have a sophomore slump. But mechanically, Tyler McGill is very mature. The strikeout rate, the swinging and miss rate really went up for him in the second half. He was phenomenal. I'm trying to pull up some of his savant stats. I want to see more about Mcgill. Obviously, I know about him. But as of right now, some expectations for them. right now, like I said, I do value having a lefty and obviously Peterson is a lefty. I feel both of these guys were rushed up in a ball. It's a fact, they were rushed. Peterson was rushed up quickly, and Mcgill only has so many innings pitched in the minor leagues. So Mcgill, when he got called up to pitch over 100 innings, he wasn't used to that. He was used to pitching 50, 40, maybe 60. So Mcgill really had to get used to that in the second half, and he really got fatigue, and the barrel started to be a thing with him. His velocity took a little bit of a dip, but not crazy. So that was the big thing with Mcgill. Peterson, too. Maybe that was the thing with him this season. As of right now, I would kind of do, and I said this in past streams, kind of like what the Brewers did with Corbin Burns and Woodruff, is put them in the bullpen and develop them more, because like Woodruff and them themselves, they didn't really spend the innings pitched on their arm wasn't a whole lot when they made their debut. So, the Mets, they need a left-handed presence in their bullpen. Obviously, with the absence of Aaron Loup, that is something to obviously look into. David Peterson, that'd be awesome to look into. Put him in that bullpen spot. Start to develop him more. Get those innings pitched up. Let him work with Jeremy Hefner. Start to do something with his arsenal. I know he does have a nice pitch mix. I'm trying to see. Obviously, yes, we did establish he is a lefty, so that is the big reason why I would say bullpen. But right now, he has a nasty fastball changeup combination that I think could be deadly in the future. I like what I'm seeing. Same thing for Mcgill. So as of right now, I would say put them in the bullpen. At least Peterson, Mcgill, maybe as that fifth starter, sixth starter. I would hate to see them in AAA because in terms of confidence, that would destroy it. Kobe says, thoughts on the DH? That's a good question. Yeah, so, the DH has officially been added to the National League, and, it's kind of been established for the last couple of weeks, and I probably have spoke about it. But in terms of the DH and the Mets, I was speaking about it like an hour ago with someone, it really benefits the Mets because the Mets obviously have a lot of roster moves for it. If you were to ask me a year ago today my thoughts on the DH, I'd say, I'm against the DH. I hate it. But now with the whole DeGrom, issue, with him constantly getting injured last season and it being the possibility of him swinging and having to create his own run creation. Obviously, Adam Wainwright, when he tore his Achilles in 2013, running to first base. Zach Gallen had an issue this year with the Diamondbacks. So I see the past precedents, and I don't want that to impact the Mets. I don't want that to impact Jacob deGrom's Hall of Fame possible career over an at-bat or something foolish like that. Pitchers, in my opinion, are supposed to pitch. I'm tired of seeing them bunt. Yeah, you'll get, a home run or some nice contact every now and then. Guys like Tyler McGill, Mets pitchers did pretty solid offensively this season compared to what's expected. But looking at the stats for pitchers, having like a negative 22 OPS plus, no more. If you want to be basic, a .2, 23 average, no more. Come on. And especially with the Mets, with James McCann not being the best offensively, I don't like having that back-to-back. So I think the DH is the best for the Mets, obviously. It helps the Mets out a lot. They have so much roster room. And it helps managers a lot. It helps managers with roster construction and lineup construction. So many times last year, we would constantly see Luis Rojas. Let's say we had Jeurys Familia on the mound. 2 outs, runners in second and third. 2 outs. You just need one more out to get out of the inning. He would take out Familia, put in Loup. Loup would throw 3 pitches. We'll say he struck out the batter. Inning's over. Oh, but the pitcher spot's up. Oh, okay, we're going to put someone off the bench. Sorry, Loup, you're out. So many times last year we saw that, and it drove me ballistic. It really did. It really drove me ballistic that you would take out, solid bullpen arms for something like this. So like I said, I really think it helps out the lineup construction a whole lot. Buck Showalter, obviously I have more faith in him with, lineup construction than Rojas. Kind of unfortunate it's not this year than last year because I would have trusted Showalter in that scenario. But, hey, I think it's honestly for the best. And in terms of the Mets have so many options. Obviously, the DH does not have to be a power hitter. I feel there's a stigma that it has to be a power hitter. And, I get it. You look at a lot of other teams, the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton is it because they don't want to play in the field because of his injuries or Nelson Cruz or, whoever other DHs there are out there. And it also does expand players' careers, which is also a benefit. So that's pretty good. You have Dominic Smith, not bad of a DH choice. Maybe if you do like Robinson Cano against, lefties, JD Davis against righties, you alternate every other day. But right now you have Cano, you have JD Davis, you have Dom Smith. You can go for outside guys like Kyle Schwarber, maybe. I mean, maybe Nelson Cruz. I don't know. I'm not crazy about signing a DH really type of deal. It'd be more someone inside domestically from the Mets system. As of right now, I would say JD Davis. Usually the DH spot is better for veterans because, they have some pop in there at bat and they're not the best defensively, or they're a little bit slow defensively, so you put them there. JD Davis, on the other hand, he's just horrible defensively. And like I've said in the past, I'm tired of these Mets players being put out of position, tired of seeing Smith in left field or McNeil at third, or so many Mets players out of their positions. Keep them at their main positions. So JD Davis could do good. Listen, he really has complexities hitting with the high-end fastball. He needs to work on that. He had the hand injury, so I'll give him some slack. Hopefully, the opposite field power, and he could start driving the ball more. So my fingers crossed for JD Davis this upcoming season. And yeah, overall, Kobe, I think this really benefits the Mets and Major League Baseball a lot. But I think it benefits the Mets definitely top up there. Andrew, what's going on? Andrew says Walker. Yeah, I mean, Tywin Walker is obviously going to be a solid piece to this rotation next year. I mean, for a dude who only pitched 30 innings in the last 3 years and then pitched like over 100 this season, was phenomenal. Second half, he struggled. He got fatigued. He got worn out. Obviously his innings pitched went down. He got tired. I mean, we're talking third, fourth inning. The command of the strike zone wouldn't be there. His fastball wasn't meaty. He wasn't pounding the zone well. The barrels, he really struggled. And I'm hoping that, just getting those innings under his belt back because of that injury that he had with, Toronto and Seattle. Hopefully he can try and get back on with the Mets. But I realistically think if he could perform, hopefully like how he's expected or how he did last year in the first half with the Mets, I think he could be a really solid number 3 starter. But I mean, he is a very big dude. I mean, I've actually seen him when I went to the Mets and Marlins game last year. He's a relatively big dude. He is a bit of a unit. Kobe says, do you follow college baseball? I do not really follow college baseball. Yeah, I know it's on. Maybe I'll start getting into it. We'll see. Trey says, no winners today. The minor leaguers, league min players, and fans are the ones getting hurt. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. It is very unfortunate. The fans suffer through it the most. Cal says, in the end, while the end result wasn't what we, the fans, wanted, there was still a ton of progress made between MLB and the Players Association. There will be baseball. I expect the deal no later than April 1st. Yeah, man, I really do hope so. Hopefully that is the case. Otherwise, we're just going to have to wait and see. I know I'm kind of being vague on these lockout questions, and that's because I'm probably going to upload a video. So I don't want to just, pretty much say everything that I'm going to say in the video. So I really don't want to do that. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, we're going to have to see. Just wanted to come on here tonight. I know I'm kind of dull. My personality's been a little dull. Kind of tired, beat out. I mean, it was up to 3 a.m. last night seeing what's going on with the lockout to only be disappointed with this. So, we'll see. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I'll check Twitter one last time, see if anything happens. If you guys have any more final comments, questions, and concerns, please feel free to drop it below. Andrew says, all Mets pitchers suffer no run support. Yeah, it seems last year that was really the big thing for the Mets, where they really had their complexities with being able to score runs, hitting with runners in scoring position. And I'm hoping that, the Mets haven't, hopefully we'll see more fundamental hitting with the Mets. Hopefully with Eric Chavez, he could do his job, hopefully, and I guess be able to have this Mets ball club, be able to hit with runners in scoring position, change that approach. I don't know what the approach was at the plate last year. I don't know what mentality Quattlebaum had. I want to see more of a, line drive mentality. Hopefully, these guys, I mean, the Mets don't have much power on this team besides Alonso, and maybe you could say Escobar. So someone's asking me one offensive move I would make. Maybe a power bat wouldn't be the worst thing. But yeah, I mean, definitely Mets offense definitely will hopefully be better than it was last season. Good stream. I appreciate it, Kobe. So, yeah, probably going to call this stream here, everyone. I do really appreciate everyone for tuning in. I get it. Things have been really tough with the lockout. We were all expecting a deal to be made. I was thought that I would be coming on here saying, oh, we got a deal. Let's go, LFGM. Let's go baseball. And regardless if you're a Mets fan, a Rays fan, a Phillies fan, a Tigers fan, we all just want the same thing. We all want baseball back. And, I'm hoping we can try and get it soon. Obviously, I really hope that it doesn't destroy the narrative of baseball. And, yeah, I guess that's all we can do and wait and see. Yeah, I do appreciate everyone for tuning in, as always. So, yeah. One last comment. I will get into that. Dom Smith should try to be himself and not Barry Bonds. I mean, yeah, this is my biggest thing with Dom Smith is that, I've always kind of bashed on Dom Smith in the past. I just feel he is the definition of trade bait. As of right now, he's a first baseman. Like I said, the Mets have so many guys out of position, and I'm tired of that. And Dom Smith, I just feel he really, why waste his value on this team if he can't play first base? Obviously, he is a bench bat at most. I get it. He's a nice lefty bat. He hits well against lefties. I get that. That's awesome. But we saw once he hit that 100-game mark, he really struggled. He started to struggle. So 2020, he played well, short game season. Why wouldn't he? I just feel he's a solid guy who could put up he's like the Padres. A lot of their guys like Will Myers or whoever, will have a great, 2-month span and then they'll just collapse like in the third month. Dom Smith is kind of like that. Maybe not, collapse, but yeah, personally, I feel he's the definition of trade bait. Why waste his talent on this team? Why not get something for him and have it be a win-win for both parties? Yeah. Because, he's not a natural outfielder. Say he got better in left field. I mean, I know that's where you put, your worst defensive, I guess, player. I mean, he got better. I'll say that. But that's why waste his talent. Why just put him in a trade? Obviously, Mauricio and him are the two guys that I've said I'd be willing to. And, get something for it. So, we'll see. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm probably going to call it a stream here. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in to the stream as always. Please, everyone, if you have not already, please feel free to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications. If you are new to the channel, make sure and do all those things. Tell your friends about this channel. Obviously, we do have a long way to go. Yeah, I mean, things are not looking bright, but we will see. So, appreciate everyone for tuning in. LFGM or whatever other team you support. Like I said, we're all baseball fans. We all want the same thing back, regardless of what team you support. We all just want baseball back, and that is all I can say. So, let's go baseball. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.